Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look at race number 10 at Aqueduct on Sunday. Here's the field for the Thunder Rumble division of the New York Stallion Series. We're going 7/8 of a mile. It is a full field. And Mike, going over the PPs, several horses in this race are coming off subpar efforts over wet tracks, and they might be dirtied up a little bit.
They might be. It's a big field. I think it's a fairly competitive field. There are a couple of real wild cards in here, Dan, but I also just feel like trainer Michelle Nevin holds a really, really strong hand here with the 4 My Boy Tate and the 9 Our Last Buck.
And My Boy Tate figures to take a lot of money. He has just been one of the gatekeepers of the New York bred sprint division for a very long time. And we'll take a look at the Timeform US pace projector to see where he'll be in the early portion. A little bit surprised that he's this far back. I don't think he needs to be that far back, but he's a horse that's just versatile. He handles wet tracks, he handles dirt tracks, and boy, he's in good form coming off some fast races.
Yeah, there's just a lot to like about him. He's a very tactical horse. I'm with you. I think he's going to be probably closer to this pace than the pace projector has him. He loves 7 furlongs. He loves Aqueduct. He's coming off of 2 absolute blowout wins. There's just a lot to like about this horse.
Speaking of a horse that likes Aqueduct, the number 1 Gemography is going to be a good price for a good trainer in Mark Henning. This horse has hit the exacta in 19 of 30 lifetime starts. Needed to go to Finger Lakes to win the Barker 2 starts back as a big favorite. Had a lot of work to do in the stretch, but still got up. In the Hudson last time out, was just overmatched against New York Traffic, who's a legitimate graded type horse.
Yeah, he didn't run terribly in the Hudson. It's just a race that he, just wasn't good enough to win. And he actually got himself into a position in the stretch where he had to alter course. I thought all in all, he did well to be third at a big price. I liked his win 2 starts back. I just feel like he's, sort of one of those underrated sprinters. He'll probably be a good price again in this race. He's got a good post on the rail to sit the right kind of a trip, and I could use him somewhere at a price.
I wonder if the 2 market alerts coming into his own and reaching maturity as he approaches the beginning of his 4-year-old campaign. He's always shown some ability, but more of a nibbler than anything else for Jimmy Ryerson. Let's watch his last race at Belmont on November the 6th, where he got up close to a moderate pace, and he's able to grind down the horse on the lead. Career best buyer 89, might have been pace aided, might have gotten the right setup. Now has to step up in class against tougher horses.
Yeah, I've always liked this horse, and I do think that there's a chance that he might just finally be coming around. It's taken him a while to get there, but maybe he finally did it here to run down a big favorite on the lead. The problem with that race, Dan, is the Gold Panda, the horse that he ran down, it was a big favorite, has come back. Came back Friday at Aqueduct, and he lost at another short price without an excuse. So that, he's not exactly flattered by that. I don't know. I still like this horse, and if he's around 12-1, I'll use him somewhere. But he does have something to prove here.
Straight Skinny, the number 3, stepping up in class, might be a bit class compromised, needs to improve from a speed figure standpoint.
Just 50-1 on the morning line, really hard to make a case for.
My Boy Tate scored at Parks 2 starts back, and then Michelle Nevin struck while the iron was hot, wheeled him back on a week's vacation, and scored at Finger Lakes. Let's watch. He's 3-10 in this race for a reason. He sat on the rail, angled to the outside, turning into the stretch, and he is on his way. His last 3 buyers, 92, 95, 92, and the race 3 starts back at Saratoga. He was in against a crack sprinter. Wonder where Craig is. He's just rock solid on paper.
Yeah, he just makes a lot of sense in this race. I thought he ran really well in that Tail of the Cat behind Wonder Where Craig is. That was a good performance. He's come back with 2 easy wins since then against overmatched horses, no doubt. But he won those races the way you wanted to see him win those races. Then he's going to get a good trip in here. He's the horse to beat.
How about Chowda as a little bit of a sleeper in this race? 3 for 4 lifetime at Aqueduct, and maybe racing himself back into shape. This will be his 4th start off of an extremely long layoff. Last time out at Belmont, Chowda finished 3rd. We're going to watch that race right now. He ran against some good open level horses. You see him on the lead. The winner of this race, Miles D, is going to come back to win the Discovery with a 102 buyer speed figure. Chowda's prior race, again, on the lead and battling it out. This horse has some pace. I don't really mind him at 7, Mike.
I don't either. I like him cutting back. I think he ran really well in this spot that we're watching right now against some really nice horses. And it does feel like since he's, come back, it's unfortunate that this horse never really got a 3-year-old campaign together, because he was pretty good at 2. He missed a lot of time. It feels like he's getting himself back into form. I'm with you. I think the cutback could work for him. There's something to like here. He's going to be a price.
One of the X factor in this race is the classy number 6, Rinaldi, who is already a graded stakes winner this year. He won the Forbidden Apple. Now, of course, the Forbidden Apple is a 2-turn turf race at Saratoga. This is the dirt debut for Rinaldi, who should show speed. The posse's handle dirt, but you look at this pedigree. There's a ton of turf on the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're just taking a shot here, Dan. He's obviously a really good turf horse. Jimmy Bond will, take a little shot here, run him against New York Prizes on dirt, and just see what happens. If he doesn't handle it, I don't think it's any big deal to them. They'll just go back to turf with him and leave it at that. If he can handle dirt, they have some options with this horse. I would never bet him, but he's a really nice horse.
DRF's Dave Grenning reported earlier today that Joel Rosario has a fractured rib, I believe, will be out 3 weeks. He will not be riding the 7 Wild Banker, so keep an eye out for changes. Wild Banker, I thought, got a really nice ride from Dylan Davis last time out in the Empire Classic against American Revolution, the morning line favorite for Saturday's Cigar Mile. I mean, there was no chance he could win. They were going very, very fast. At 56-1, he fell far back. They saved something for the end, and he got up for second in a $300,000 race.
Yeah, I mean, he's just in really good form right now. It feels like, and I do respect the fact that he's sort of been working his way up the class ladder too, Dan, but his recent form's just really, really good since they switched him back to the main track. He's shown up. He's run well in basically all of his races. He was never a real factor in that race last time, but just to finish second, I guess, was a good deal for him, and he won 2 starts back. He's another horse cutting back in this race. Supposed to be fine for him. He might be an okay price. I'm not going to bet him. I'm not going to be surprised if he runs well again.
You're getting 30-1 on the Atoll de Salsa. Both of his stakes victories have come at 7/8 of a mile, one of them at Aqueduct, but they were both slow races last year as a 2-year-old, and he just hasn't moved forward this year.
Yeah, it's a big problem for him. We'll see if he can finally come around here and maybe take a step forward. He just got absolutely dusted by my boy Tate last time, but that was off of a little bit of a layoff. He just has to really improve to be competitive yet.
Now, we talked about Chowder racing himself back into shape. I feel the same way about Michelle Nevin's other entrant, the number 9, Our Last Buck, who's just a dangerous contender because he's a stakes winner going 7/8 of a mile at Aqueduct. He won the Safe Florida Sandy in his first start this year at 7. He caught wet tracks in 2 of his 3 starts off of the layoff. I don't think he likes the wet track. And last time out, I don't think the short comment really does him any favors. Mike, he was just in real tight and upper stretch. Maybe he was going to run a little bit, but once he got pinched, how could he catch those horses?
Yeah, I mean, it's a real question whether he was going to run or not, but he did get into trouble at the top of the stretch. I mean, more than anything else, Dan, when I watched the Hudson, he just looked to me like a horse who hated the wet track. He didn't get out of the gate very well. He was always at the back of the field, always under a ride from Manny Franco. And he just never looked like he was going to pick up. I just don't think he liked that track at all. I'm happy to give him a pass for that race. I thought he ran really well at Saratoga 2 starts back over this distance. I liked his return from the layoff in the Morrissey over that sloppy track as well. He was in great form over this track before he missed all that time. I just think he's a real threat to bounce back here. And if he's going to be around that 4-1, I think that's a fair price.
His race at Saratoga going 7/8, he ran second to a pretty good horse. I've heard of that, Aloha West, and he earned a big figure with a 96 buyer. I like this horse's tactical speed and attack outside post position. Very dangerous. Devious Mo is the 10. This is a horse coming off of the Claim, was a stakes winner earlier this year as a 3-year-old. Returns as a first-time gelding and is going to have to really improve.
Yeah, it's a kind of amazing that it didn't, things didn't continue to go in the right direction for him, because Rudy claimed him and it felt like he got him really good. He broke his maiden, cheaply, but in a relatively fast race, he came right back to win the Times Square division of the Stallion Series with an 84 buyer, and it kind of felt like he was on his way. And everything just sort of fell apart from there. Now he's been claimed away from Rudy for 35, and it just feels like he's in really tough year.
The 11 Lobster is Chowder's younger full brother, and he was another one that took on some tough open company. He was also in against American Revolution in the New York Derby, wasn't going to beat that horse. He's run some solid races, but coming off a layoff, just a tough spot.
Yeah, it's a tough spot. I don't think, as of now anyway, I don't think he's as good as his older full brother, but there's, he's got a little talent in his own right, and he's another one who I feel like, cutting back to 7 could be okay for him.
I don't want to fall asleep on the 12 Captain Bombastic because he's another one coming out of the Empire Classic. I don't think he liked the wet track, but more importantly, I don't think he wanted any part of a mile and an eighth. He's going to turn back to a distance where I feel he's going to be very, very successful. His win 2 starts back was against some solid open company at Laurel, and he has figures.
He does. I this horse is a major contender in this race. I don't have him in there just because I don't trust him quite as much as I trust some other horses. But if he runs the race that he ran 2 starts back, and getting back on fast dirt is supposed to help him. If he can run a race like he did 2 back, he's going to be tough in here.
Top pick time for the Thunder Rumble edition of the New York Stallion Series. Our last buck is very, very logical based on all the claims that Mike make. And again, watch that last race in your formulator past performance. Is not the easiest trip over a wet track he didn't like. Again, my boy Tate, I think, is probably the horse to beat. He has all the credentials. We're looking for some slightly better prices. Market Alert needs to step it up a little bit. I thought at least the last race was a step in the right direction. And maybe we haven't seen his best just yet.
I don't think we have. I'm a fan of that horse. I threw him in my mix as well, Dan. He's going to be a good price in here. I put our last buck on top. I just think he deserves a chance to rebound here.
And he ran a big race 2 starts back against Aloha West at Saratoga. 9-4-1-2 for Mike, 2-4-7-12 for me. The Thunder Rumble edition of the New York Stallion Stakes. Bet it with DRF Bets. Good luck.